Hi guys, I just want to show you a few different things that I've learned in Schoology. Thanks to Maureen Morrow for showing me one of these and asking the question that got me to figure out the other. And then I'm also spent some time on the phone today with a Schoology rep, um, who I think we're going to be working closely with. So if you have questions or features you'd like to see added to Schoology, um, you've been good about sending them my way, but continue to send them my way, especially new features or changes. Now we have a person to go to at Schoology, and she's going to sort of compile that list for us and then pass those on. And I did learn too that a lot of their updates and their work is driven by teachers. They have an engineering staff that 50% of their time is sort of devoted to user input, and obviously they still have to prioritize. But when you see things you'd like to see changed or updated or revised, let me know and I'll pass those on. And then she adds those sort of to the queue, and the things that are most popular or most requested are typically, if possible, what their engineering staff works on. So that was really cool to hear. So any questions or comments, things like that, please send them my way. All right, first one is you can sort materials right here. And it seems kind of basic, but if you just want to see your quizzes, select tests and quizzes, and those will show up. If you just want to see assignments, select assignments. So that's just kind of a quick way to access things that you want to see, or content that you might want to see in your classes. And I believe I don't have any folders in this class, but I believe that this exists within a folder as well. And so you can sort material if you have, your material set up by units or something like that. So the next thing is if you want to see what the students see instead of seeing your teacher side of it, we had in the past created some fake student accounts for teachers that requested it so that they could see what it looked like for students. Marine showed me this, and I really appreciate it. And one of the things we don't want to create those fake accounts if we don't have to, or those fake student accounts, because we pay for our licenses um, based on the number of students. We can have as many teacher accounts as we want, parent accounts, but we pay by student. So just kind of keeping that in mind. Um, but what you can do to view it as a student is if you go over here to course options, hit the drop down arrow, you can do view course as, and this list will populate with your list of students. This is my fake student right here. You can also view the course as a parent, and the list of parents associated with kids will drop down. You can see that. But so if you click on, if you have 30 kids in your class, you'll have a list of 30 kids here that you can click on. So I'm going to click on this fake student of mine. I can view it. You see here, this is how the course looks to whichever student. Use this tool. You can always change the visibility, and then you can enter different names. So this is what it looks like to students. You can see that the options are different over here. See what the students see over here versus now if I go back to the course. So now I'm back as a teacher. You can see that I have some different options over here, including the access code. So I thought that was a really cool feature, and it's nice to be able to see what the students see, and try things out from their point of view. The last thing that I wanted to show you here is I think Cheryl had requested that in materials, if they could add some sort of polling feature. I brought that up, and that's not necessarily in the works right now, but she said our representative would bring it back to their team, and put it on their, um, in sort of the queue for their engineering team. And if a number of other people bring that up, and teachers bring that up and bring that to Schoology, that might get moved up the list. But what she did say for now, and maybe you knew about this or maybe you didn't, but you can do polls within Schoology. And the way that you do that is you can do it in updates. So if you go to updates right here, you can do this for a broader audience if you're back on the home page and you do an update, but you can just do it this will just be for this class. So if I do updates, see that you can format it in different ways here. I think for math people, there's even you can put in some math symbols and equations here. I don't know how well that works, but that exists. But you can format it any way you want. You can also attach files, links, just like an assignment in Schoology or a test. You can pull things from resources. You can add audio or video recordings to this update. But then the thing that you can also add is you can add um, polls. This poll thing right here. This looks like a little bar graph. Okay, and so you'd write your question up here. Maybe it's an exit ticket. Today's learning target was rate yourself. Rate how well you feel like you know this content. I don't know. 4, 3, add option 2, add option 1, and hit post. So that'll post. It looks like this. Then I'm going to switch here. I'm going to switch to my fake student real quick. Okay, so in my recent activity, this shows up also if I go into the course, which I'm in Schoology Experiments. Go to updates. That's going to show up there. Okay, this was posted by me. So I'm going to rate myself 2. And you can see that there's 1 vote. Students' votes will continue to populate there. Now I'm going to switch back to teacher view. All right, so I'm a teacher. I can't see who posted it, but I can see that there's 1 vote there on my poll. So you could do this for entrance tickets, exit tickets, some sort of form of assessment in between. Really anything you want. That was under updates in the course options. One other thing, Schoology and campus integration, and they with grades, and they call it grade grade passback. So that's the term that they're using. So get grades from Schoology back to campus. That part is not in place yet. I know that we've seen some blogs and we see it on Twitter that there's some integration between campus and Schoology, which is happening. And what they can do right now, and this is different than what we did last year, is we can get student information and course information from campus into Schoology. It used to be we sort of used a workaround. Somebody at ARC helped us out with that, and it worked all right. But now Schoology has a direct connection with campus, and so they have it set up so student information can go from campus into Schoology, create student user accounts, create course shells, and manage who's in and out of those courses. Now, I know that we were able to do that and we sort of shut that off because it wasn't working great. And we're not turning it back on at this point. But it seems to be working better and it should be smoother because it's directly between campus and Schoology. They're working on grade passback, which is this idea that when something's graded in campus, it will just graded in Schoology, the grade will pass back into campus's gradebook. They're not there yet, and they would not commit to sort of a timeline. However, the rep that we're working with said that we should talk again in the spring, and that the hope is that we'd be able to roll this out next school year. So what that would mean for you is you'd only have to grade stuff in one spot, which would be in Schoology, and then the grades would get passed back to campus. Um, we won't try this until next year. So don't worry about that right now or the details of it. But that is something in the works, and that is something that I know teachers would like to see, and that we've been hearing about. But so that's where it's at. Like I said, I talked to Schoology rep about that this morning. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm always glad to help. A couple of different things you can use Schoology tips and tricks in Schoology to use Schoology more efficiently. We now have a sort of a Schoology rep that we're working more closely with, to kind of push product development along and try to, their goal really is to help educators and learners. So provide feedback to me anytime you have questions, and you're all good about asking questions, but keep your questions coming. But if you have sort of things that you're thinking like, wow, this could be easier, send it my way. If we can help you, I'll help you. And if it's something that really needs to be changed with the software, then I'll pass that on, and hopefully in the future they'll get that changed.